3,000 cars lost in flames. Chinese ship catches fire mid-ocean. A cargo ship loaded with 3,000 brand-new cars burst into flames while sailing from China across the Central Pacific just days ago. As the fire spiraled out of control, the crew had no choice but to abandon ship and flee for their lives. Bloomberg reported on June 4th that the burning vessel was named Morning Midas. It left Yantai Port, China, on May 26th, made stops at Nansha and Shanghai, and then ignited mid-ocean en route to Mexico. Zodiac Maritime, the ship's management company, revealed the ship carried roughly 3,000 vehicles, including 800 electric cars. Thick smoke was first seen billowing from a deck, prompting immediate firefighting efforts, but the crew failed to contain the blaze. All 22 crew members were safely evacuated after the fire proved uncontrollable. The priority has now shifted to salvaging the vessel. The crew escaped by lifeboat and were rescued by a nearby merchant ship, aided by the U.S. Coast Guard. Thousands of brand-new cars were left behind in the inferno. Still, a Zodiac spokesperson refused to reveal who owns the scorched vehicles. According to the U.S. Coast Guard's post on X, the fire broke out roughly 300 miles, 483 kilometers, southwest of Adak, Alaska. LSEG, London Stock Exchange Group, data shows that Morning Light sailed under a Liberian flag. It departed Yantai on May 26th, bound for Lázaro Cárdenas, Mexico. 8 days into its 19-day journey, just past midnight on June 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, thick smoke erupted from a deck. Zodiac later confirmed the fire came from the area carrying EVs. The brands of those vehicles remain a mystery. Ship fires involving EVs are notoriously difficult to extinguish due to extreme heat and reignition risks, and such blazes can burn for days. The U.S. Coast Guard deployed flight crews and patrol vessels to assist. 3 nearby ships have also reached the area. As of now, the fire is still raging, and the fate of thousands of vehicles remains unknown. Bloomberg reported that a recent report from insurance giant Allianz warns of rising dangers in global shipping, driven by the surging demand for lithium-ion batteries, especially in electric vehicles. The threat is particularly alarming as today's massive car carriers haul thousands of high-value cars in a single voyage. While these ships routinely transport large carloads across oceans, a series of high-profile fires in recent years has sparked growing concern over the safety of such operations. These incidents have led to staggering losses for automakers, ship operators, and insurers alike. Allianz data shows that shipboard fires hit a 10-year peak in 2024. Back in 2022, a vessel packed with 4,000 luxury vehicles, including Porsches and Bentleys, caught fire near Portugal's Azores and sank after burning for nearly 2 weeks. Then, in 2023, another car carrier with nearly 3,000 vehicles went up in flames off the Dutch coast. Recently, there have been rumors abroad that former Politburo Standing Committee member Wang Yang may return to politics and take over as General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee during the transition period. Sources say Wang Yang's return is not just following orders, but comes with 3 specific conditions for high-level negotiations with the system. This move is seen as a careful and strategic political decision rather than an idealistic reform. According to insiders close to decision-makers, these 3 conditions involve rebuilding military influence, adjusting diplomatic strategies, and institutional reforms. These demands reportedly sparked heated debates at the enlarged Politburo meeting in May. Some senior officials described the atmosphere as reminiscent of a movement for ideological renewal, like in the 1980s, with rare collective reflection on the current situation. Military influence is the bottom line. No military control, no negotiation. The first condition Wang Yang proposed is to secure military influence. He believes without real control over military power, any political arrangement will lack stability. Multiple sources say top military leaders are considering creating a vice chairman of the National Security Council position for Wang Yang and restarting the old system where the General Secretary does not also serve as chairman of the Military Commission. breaking the current structure of concentrated power. There have been frequent changes in the military recently, including the Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia removing Xi Jinping's military loyalists, the sudden death of former Vice Chairman Xu Qiliang and Miao Hua and He Weidong being reported by the entire army as corrupt gang members, showing that the military base of Xi Jinping's confidant system has collapsed. If Wang Yang returns without military influence, it may be difficult to stabilize the situation. Diplomatic strategy shift, softer approach, key personnel return. The second condition concerns adjusting foreign policy. Wang Yang asked for Foreign Minister Wang Yi and spokesperson Hua Chunying to step down and supports the return of Qin Gang, previously sidelined, to rebuild China-US relations. Observers note this is more than a personnel change. It signals a shift from a hardline stance to a more traditional, patient diplomacy focused on peaceful development. Wang Yang believes the previous aggressive diplomatic style has worsened relations and increased economic pressure due to isolation in technology and capital. There are also rumors that Fu Xiaotian, a former TV host with close ties to Qin Gang, recently shared family photos seen as a sign of Qin Gang's upcoming comeback. An insider close to the decision-making level revealed that when Xi Jinping met with Wen Jiabao in Luoyang a few days ago, he broke down in tears and called Zhang Youxia a living devil, hoping Wen Jiabao could persuade Zhang to halt further harsh actions. Institutional reform, rebuild collective leadership, and reduce personality-driven control. The third condition addresses the system's core issues. Wang Yang calls for restoring collective leadership and political consultation to break the highly centralized control over party, government, and military. He warns that too much power concentration leads to corruption and poor decision-making, so reform must start at the institutional level. Reports say these conditions are not personal demands, but reflect widespread concerns shared by top leaders. Veteran leaders like Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao reportedly reached a tacit agreement with Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia that Xi Jinping would step back voluntarily. The process of reducing personal power concentration is now underway across military, diplomacy, Hong Kong and Macau affairs, and the propaganda system. Analysts say the goal is an orderly and steady transfer of power, avoiding system-wide disruptions seen in the past. Conclusion: not defeated by an enemy, but by the system he built. Although Xi Jinping remains in office, the system he personally shaped is facing serious challenges. Experts say Xi is not losing to an individual rival, but is constrained by the very power structure he created. Even if Xi leaves, the system remains, and without fundamental reform, similar problems will recur. Recognizing this is the real political awakening.
Various virus epidemics are raging in China. Many mainland citizens have revealed that a large number of seriously ill patients are crowding hospitals. People around them are constantly passing away suddenly, and many are dying in their sleep. The phenomenon of people collapsing everywhere has become the norm. Crematoriums are expanding, and rural cemeteries are full. In late March, people in many places told NTD that all major local hospitals and funeral homes were full. Mr. An, a citizen of Shenzhen. Now there are many sudden deaths of all ages, but more among young people. I have seen several young people in their 20s and 30s who were usually healthy and had no symptoms, but suddenly collapsed. I don't know what the problem is. They just trembled and fell to the ground. Walking on the street, I saw people collapsing. Citizens in Changsha, Hunan also revealed that the phenomenon of falling down everywhere is increasing. Mr. Li, a resident of Changsha, Hunan. I know two people who passed away in their 40s and 50s. They suddenly had cerebral thrombosis and cerebral infarction. They were in good health but just fell to the ground. Many people in the hospital have this problem. It will not be reported and the doctor won't tell you the cause of death. Mr. Zhang, a resident of Nanyang, Henan, said that due to too many people passing away, the hospital was overcrowded and the funeral home and cemetery were expanding. Mr. Zhang: our funeral home is quite busy, and the hospital is busy. I went to the hospital to visit patients these days. A relative was hospitalized. When I arrived, the corridors of the ward were full of beds, completely full, and even the elevator door was blocked by beds. There was no place to put them. They were everywhere, especially in the cardiovascular and respiratory wards. I went to visit the graves during the spring festival. The cemetery area was constantly being dug up. Mr. Yuan, a resident of Fuyang, Anhui, said that the local cemeteries were sold out and many people had no place to be buried after passing away. Mr. Yuan, there are many sudden passings among people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and the funeral homes and hospitals are full. They bury the deceased after cremation, and some are buried in secret. The original cemeteries have been sold out. Even the planned ones, like in my township, were bought in advance by the elderly. Now the deceased have nowhere to be buried. Ms. Zhang, a citizen of Youxia, Yunnan, revealed that this year, there are more people who passed away from myocardial infarction and cerebral infarction. The number of funeral homes has increased, and so has the price of cemeteries. Ms. Zhang, there's still fever and coughing, that is, pneumonia and white lung have become more common recently. I know 2 young people around 40 who suddenly had myocardial infarctions and cerebral infarctions without warning, and they passed away. The price of cemeteries has gone up too, by thousands or even tens of thousands of yuan compared to before. The number of passings in recent years has increased compared to before the epidemic. The authorities first said it was influenza A, then some virus infection. They just changed the name to fool the public. Mr. Chen, a truck driver in Fujian, revealed that he drove around and saw people passing away all over the country. He believes hundreds of millions may have passed in recent years. Mr. Chen, several of my relatives and friends passed away in the past 2 years. They had all sorts of diseases. They had been treated their whole lives, spent all their money in hospitals, and still passed away. Many relatives and friends around me are gone now, mostly middle-aged and elderly. There must be hundreds of millions of deaths across the country. You can feel it. Just look at how many people around you have passed away. I drive all day and see funerals constantly. Since the start of the year, there have been funerals every day. I've seen so many. Mr. Chen also revealed that crematoriums and funeral homes have been expanded, but cremated bodies are no longer viewable. Families are worried about multiple bodies being burned together. Mr. Chen, now the crematoriums and funeral homes have been upgraded. Cremation is faster, but you can't watch anymore. Before we could see from outside, but not now. The technology is better. 2 or 3 years ago, there was no time to cremate. When relatives passed away, we had to wait in line for several days, even half a month or more. Now it's improved, and many can be cremated in 1 day. Citizens in Wuxi, Jiangsu province disclosed that a large number of young and middle-aged people in major hospitals have white lungs and heart conditions. But the authorities are hiding the truth. Mr. Liu, a citizen of Wuxi, Jiangsu, now there are many heart conditions and white lungs here, affecting people in their 20s to 40s. Everyone knows where the problem comes from, but the government media won't touch that sensitive topic. There are many people at the funeral home, but the authorities forbid discussion and the news is tightly controlled.